What's going on, y'all? I'm your boy Brandon Walzak, aka the 6 at 6, social media influencer, graphic designer, yada yada, titles. Here with my boy Eduardo Ramon. How you doing, bro?
I'm good, brother. It's nice to see you, man.
You as well, fam. Now, Eduardo is a realtor, Toronto-based, and I really want to take this from the, average Joe's perspective, if you know what I mean, in regards to this conversation about real estate.
Absolutely, man. And it's one of those things, like, especially living in Toronto, we see it all the time. It's on the news all the time. And what I always tell people is that real estate is probably one of the most important things in our society because, man, it matters. Where we live, the land that we live on, the houses that we live in, it matters, man, right? So it's one of those things, again, like I tell everyone I talk to that it doesn't matter if you're a lawyer, a doctor, working in construction, you're a teacher, anyone with substantial wealth or who wants to build substantial wealth has real estate in their portfolio. So whenever you talk to people that have wealth, I mean, almost all of them have real estate investments, right? Mm-hmm. And even now, man, it's a hot topic because you got like shows like $1 Million Listing, Sunset Boulevard, the list goes on and on. So a lot of people see that, but they don't quite understand it, right? Like, how much money do you gotta save up? How do you go about buying a house, right? Yeah. I always tell them, call me first, and I'll take care of the rest.
Well, but these are all good questions because, as like I said, your everyday person, people are concerned with going to work, coming home, taking care of, mundane things in life, and those things never really become something that would be at the forefront of every person's day.
Yeah, man. I mean, for a lot of people, like, especially now, like, you look at Toronto and people, like, the headline even today was prices hit an all-time high. So the average person's like, well, owning it's at the pipe dream. I don't even need to bother thinking about it because it's never gonna happen. But a lot of the times it's just because people aren't educated on how they can actually do it, right? It's like, for example, you can buy with as little as 5%. And that depends on how much, obviously, the property is gonna cost, your credit, which is why, again, credit is important. For all you young guys or young girls or whoever watching, credit is essential for anything.
In case they didn't tell you.
Yeah, because
they don't tell you.
No, bro, it's one of those things, like, I remember being young, you'd go to a Raptors game, I'm like, oh, sick, free MasterCard. And then you max it out, and it's like, oh, wait, I gotta pay that back?
With interest.
With interest, exactly. And then you're screwed for the next couple of years. So that's why, like, taking care of your credit is so important because, I mean, you're gonna need it to buy a house, for cars, for anything pretty much.
It's true.
A quick thing too that I can tell people who are thinking about buying a house, man, is have a goal. Like if there's a certain amount, like you have 5% or 10% or whatever your goal is, find out how much that is for a house and have that as your goal. Even if it takes saving little by little every month, have a financial schedule where you can organize and see where you're spending your money, and then you'll be able to track, okay, where's my money going, how much can I afford to save, and how long will it take me to save to buy a house.
It's totally true, and there's a self-control thing there too, especially growing up. I was never taught that sort of stuff, and they don't teach it in school either, which has always blown my mind that finance is only just becoming a thing in schools now. But it's important, man. And
it's true, man. And like, fortunately and unfortunately, like some families, it's like bred in them, where like they're teaching their kids from young, like, you gotta buy a house or you gotta buy a condo and rent it out, and you have to have multiple properties. From like when they're 10 years old, they're teaching that, right? Invest. For the average person, I mean, even like people, let's say if they're new to the country, a lot of the times it was just, we made it here, work, save, hope for the best, and live for the day kind of thing, right? And a lot of times I see that where even us growing up, or you see with the young generation now, it's a lot of like, live for the now, who cares about tomorrow, worry about that later. But then before you know it, you're middle-aged and you're like, damn, I'm still doing the same thing I was doing when I was like 17 kind of thing, right? So it's always important to like, it's never too late to change, but it's important to have a plan and to start working towards that change.
Well, that conversation is something we could really talk about. The circle that you're in influences the decisions that you make, right? And I mean, I never really had people that were doing real estate, so it's become a new subject of conversation amidst my circle.
That's a sign that we're growing up, though.
Exactly,
right?
and that's why this is also such a good video to make and bring awareness to people who maybe wasn't at the forefront of their mind, and now they're thinking, well, yeah, what else am I saving my money for? This is something that will, generate wealth and continue to grow throughout your family, even. Right?
Well, exactly, man. Like, I'll give you a quick example. Like, look at this last year. If you bought in Toronto last year, you've made 20% on your investment already in 1 year. There's no bank.
Yeah, it's grown like that in 1 year.
From November last year, average house prices was $995. Today, it's at 1.16.
Wow.
In a year. Like, it's almost 170 grand. Like, that's insane, right? Like, there's nowhere else where you can put your money in something for a year and make that kind of money back. Right, so it's important, and then we see it like a lot of times, like, man, how do people have this money to be able to have 10, 15, 14 properties, whatever it is? Because you start with one, and then it's the leveraging, right? The appreciation. It's like
back to credit again.
Yeah, man.
So why this establishment? Why are we meeting here?
Well,
where's the bartender at?
I know, man. Story of the day. No, so right now we're at La Liga, man. It's an indoor sports facility. The people here are great. They facilitate different youth soccer leagues, basketball leagues. They have parties here too. And they've been really great, like with our team Colo Colo, shout out to Colo Colo. They've allowed us to use the space for the kids to come and play, to train, to be able to have a safe space, to be able to play and just be kids, So, I mean, I thought it'd be really, really cool to be able to do something like this here.
That's dope, that's dope. So tell me a little bit about this Jane and Finch scholarship you got going on.
Yeah, man. It's something that's really near and dear to my heart, man. It's I mean, growing up, like, obviously grew up in Jane and Finch. Shout out to every area, but I'm biased. I love Jane and Finch. Just born and raised there.
I hear you.
It was just a place that, I mean, when I used to write poetry, I put a line in there where it's like, where bullets fly, mothers cry, but we still had fun. It's like, no matter what was going on around you, we were able to find like the beauty in the smallest things and really hold on to that, right? Even my friendships from childhood, I mean, those guys are my brothers and sisters, because there's something about going through that struggle, making it out, that just creates a certain bond and a lust for life that other things won't give you, right?
It's true, it's true. And I know all about old Toronto. We're from roughly the same, time. So
yeah,
when Toronto was different,
when it was a T-dot.
Yeah, Toronto was different back then.
Yeah, man. And I mean, sadly though, there aren't a lot of role models or examples that you can aspire to, man. And you had like the average stuff, which is amazing. Like music, sports, it was always in LA. But for the majority of people, that just isn't always an option, right? So I know for me, I had mentors who kind of geared me, and the eye-opening experience for me was getting to university. Once I got to university, I was meeting people from all walks of life, and I'm like, for them, getting to university was expected. Whereas for us, getting to university was hailed like, bro, you just did the biggest thing imaginable, but it's not. It's not. It's like step one to being able to get to where you need to go to. So what inspired me is that I want to be able to become that, obviously not to get up on myself, but like to be an example of like being able to come back to the community and be like, look, there's ways you can accomplish whatever it is you want to accomplish. You might not make it as a rapper or involved, but you could be a lawyer, you could be a doctor, man. You can accomplish so many other things and still be able to come back to your community and give back. And last year was the first year we did it. Like, I was selling the Jane and Finch Dream sweaters, sorry. And with the proceeds, we put it towards a scholarship, and we gave it to Isa Berry. Shout outs to Isa Berry last year. And she was a perfect example of that. First year university, she volunteers all over the place in the community. And it was remarkable to see that, like, even though you come from this place and obviously you're trying to accomplish your own things in life, she still managed to be able to come back and help the kids with whatever knowledge she does have. So for me, it's like, I want to be able to create this scholarship to allow kids the opportunity to go to university, meet people from different walks of life, and not have money be the reason you can't do it.
Yeah. It's awesome that you say that too about having role models or somebody to look up to, because as an influencer, I personally know what it's like to not have somebody to look up to, and then becoming somebody that people look up to. It was a trip, man. And growing up on social media, I mean, I've been at this for 7 going on 8 years now, but people have seen my growth, and I was very raunchy and aggressive and assertive with, just my delivery, I don't know, with the way that I, joked.
Yeah.
And as I got older, I wanted to be somebody that kids could look up to and still be cool, not completely wash the comedy, but still keep the comedy genuine, authentic, Toronto-centric, and still be...
Because you've evolved, man. Like, we all evolve, right? Like, everyone hopefully is growing and evolving in their life. And I think that's key, right? Is to be able to refine yourself and turn that, that raw, aggressive self, but refine it into like, okay, now I know where to channel it to be most productive.
Yeah. As long as I'm waking up better than I was yesterday, I know that I'm progressing. And that's, lends cadence to this conversation about realty too, which is just so fascinating, because like you said, in 1 year your life could change. Like 20% is kind of ridiculous in 1 year to literally make from just investing your money and just putting your money into it, and that's it, and you step back
and you just live, and then you're making money. But that's the key, and that's the key that a lot of people from our demographic don't understand. They're like, they can't see it. Right? Like,
well, yeah, because we're used to quick, fast, it's the lifestyle.
It is, but real estate is a long game, and it's the right game.
Yeah, it's the right game. It is. Even a couple of my friends, like I was saying, a couple of my friends are heavily involved in real estate now. So that's where like the conversation in the circle is starting to turn to, and so having somebody like you, which is also my friend, it's cool that my circle is evolving into this, right?
Yeah, man, it's important, man. And like you said, like, we can evolve and not lose touch with who you are, kind of thing, right? And
you have predictions for 2022?
2022, man, unfortunately, prices are not coming down. The issue's always been, to put it simple, there just isn't enough houses or places for sale, and there's a ton of buyers. Right? I'll give you an example, man. You put a house up for sale, there's 20 people looking in that area, so there's gonna be 20 people fighting for that house. 20 people bidding, now someone just paid $200,000 over what the last house sold for, that's the new price. So until the government magically creates a ton of new houses or everyone decides to sell, inventory is gonna be the issue and prices are gonna keep going up, man.
Demand. Supply and demand, baby.
And like we said, like, Toronto's world class, man. You got all kinds of work, from manufacturing, service, technology, arts, entertainment, you name it, we've got it. I mean, worldwide, even like the schools, the private schools, people from all over the world send their kids to our educational institutions. So Toronto just has so much to offer, and there's always going to be a demand to live here, right? So if you can get into the market, do it sooner rather than later, because prices aren't going to come down.
Yeah. It's the VIP club right now.
Literally. And what about you, man? What do you got coming up in the near future, man? Like, obviously on Instagram, you're huge, bro. Like, that's why I'm so appreciative.
My thing. I appreciate it, bro. No, I'm working on a couple of projects. Mainly, my passion, Bibbidi and SK.
Shout outs to Bibbidi and SK.
Thank you. Which is me, by the way. Yeah, no, these characters are near and dear to my heart, and I really do think they're the next Ren and Stimpy, Beavis and Butthead, the comedic classic duo combination. So that's something I'll be pitching to Netflix soon. I've got a script reading on Monday for another show.
Amazing, amazing.
So, I'm just staying focused, staying driven, and just moving forward one day at a time, man.
That's amazing. So you're saying I should hold on to this like an old Drizzy track and wait for you to blow, and then put it up?
I mean, I'm trying to toot my horn on, but yo,
you're like true
things
savior.
are gonna be kind of a deal,
No, that's amazing. That's amazing,
Thanks, bro.
man.
Thank you.
So again, like, thank you for making time, and to everyone out there, again, for any real estate needs you need, questions, whatever it is, I'm always happy to help. Just hit me up in my DMs, call me, text me, email me, whatever it is.
And thank you too, because I've learned a lot, and you're somebody that I can lean on now for questions regarding that, you know? Like, I'm gonna be hitting you up tomorrow, like, yo, bro.
Anytime, brother, anytime.
50, is it a good buy or what?
As long as I get a cameo in the Netflix show, bro. All right, brother, thank you, man.
Yeah, fam, you already know.